Hola chicos, yo no estoy en la escuela hoy, jueves el 12 de noviembre, in the interest of making depression and mental health like more, what's the word I'm looking for? In the interest of normalizing depression and having problems with one's mental health, I will be honest with you, I am really struggling with my mental health, and I just really need a break from school because this has been really hard. So I'm not in school today or tomorrow, and instead you're going to be doing some work with this new vocabulary for Chapter 8 on your own. So, las metas de capítulo 8 son, I can identify areas of an airport and items used during travel and a trip. I can communicate and navigate through airport situations. I can use the present subjunctive verb form in various situations and sentences. I can understand and conjugate verbs in the present, preterite, present progressive, immediate future, and the subjunctive mood. I know the names, meanings, and structure of verb tenses. Pues, here is some vocabulary that you already know about vacations and trips. That's our theme for Chapter 8, and we've studied this a little bit in Level 1 and 2. Por favor, take a moment, look at both of these lists of words, and see what you remember. Do you remember all these words that you've seen from in Level 1 and 2? Some of the ones that were difficult for my House A students were El Campo means countryside. El País means country, like a nation. La Obra de Teatro is a play. El Partido is a game or a match. El Lugar means the place. El Lugar. Bucear means to scuba dive or to snorkel, depending on context. Dar una caminata means to take a walk. Literally, it's to give a walk, but Spanish is a different language. Pasear en bote, to go boating, to pass around on a boat. If there were others that you don't remember, please take a moment and look them up. You can even use an online dictionary like SpanishDict.com to help you. Por favor, if you have a book, or if you're in class, grab a book. Vamos a leer en capítulo 8A. Estamos en la página 402. I'll try not to make this too painful for you. I'll read the words aloud. If you need to pause the video and look up a word, that's great. Hopefully you have this pink packet of notes that you can use as you're reading. Oh my goodness. Looks like this. If you don't have one, there is one in my classroom you can grab. Hopefully if you're a distance learner, you already have it. Bueno. Mi hermano Antonio y yo vamos a hacer un viaje a Nicaragua para visitar a nuestros abuelos. Hacer un viaje, to make a trip, to do a trip. In inglés, to take a trip, right? Para planear el viaje, fuimos con nuestros padres a una agencia de viajes. Planear, to plan, es un cognado. Aquí hay la tarjeta de embarque. It looks like a ticket, but it's a boarding pass. In the olden days, you used to have a paper or a card that was like to get on the airplane. Now, a lot of the time, it's on your phone or your device. Tarjeta means card. Embarque is related to the word to embark, embarkation. Bueno, aquí hay la agencia de viajes, travel agency. We don't have to go to these very often anymore because we do it online. El agente de viajes es la persona que trabaja en la agencia de viajes. Puede ser una mujer, la agente también. Aquí hay los turistas. Es un cognado, es muy fácil. Aquí hay el pasaporte. Necesitas un pasaporte para viajar a otro país. Ella hace la maleta. Aquí está la maleta. Aquí, suitcase. Ella hace la maleta. She does the suitcase, or she makes the suitcase. In English, we say to pack one's suitcase. El equipaje está aquí. Equipaje could include maletas, también mochilas, bolsos. Equipaje means luggage, baggage. Aquí hay un diálogo. Dos personas hablan. El agente de viajes dice, les he hecho las reservaciones. I have made for you guys the reservations. Tienen dos boletos de ida y vuelta. You have two tickets, two round-trip tickets, going and returning. Ida y vuelta relates to ir, venir. Or ir, volver. Ir, volver. Tienen dos boletos de ida y vuelta entre Miami y Managua. Aquí están tus boletos electrónicos, your electronic tickets. Van a recibir sus tarjetas de embarque en el aeropuerto. You guys are going to receive your boarding passes in the airport. El aeropuerto es un cognado. Ya tienen los asientos 8D y 8F. Did we learn asientos? It means seats. You already have your seats, 8D y 8F. Antes de llegar a Managua, van a hacer escala en Tegucigalpa, Honduras, porque no hay vuelo directo a Managua. Before arriving in Managua, you're going to make a stop, to make a layover in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, because there's no direct flight, vuelo directo, direct flight a Managua. Los turistas dicen, muchas gracias, señor Salazar, ¿y qué más necesitamos? Y el agente de viajes responde, necesitan sus pasaportes. Y que las líneas aéreas sugieren, the airlines, this is a cognate, las líneas aéreas sugieren, they suggest, here's the verb in the infinitive, que lleguen al aeropuerto 2 horas antes de la salida del vuelo. The airlines suggest that you guys arrive to the airport 2 hours before. La salida means the departure. It's related to the word salir, to leave. They recommend that you arrive at the airport 2 hours before the departure of the flight para facturar el equipaje. Equipaje means luggage. Facturar, to check, in order to check your luggage. También insisten en que pasen por la inspección de seguridad. They also insist that you guys pass through the security checkpoint. The inspection, the security inspection. Security checkpoint is what we would say. Aquí hay más fotos. Aquí hay la piloto, es una mujer. El piloto es un hombre. Vuelo 342, flight number. Destino a Tegucigalpa. Destination, destino a. Salida, departure. Salida a las 2:10. Llegada, arrival, a las 3:35. Aquí hay la puerta de embarque. La puerta means door. Embarque is related to embarkation and also to la tarjeta de embarque, the boarding pass. So this is the gate, in inglés, the gate. La empleada está aquí. También puede ser un hombre, el empleado. Y ella hace un announcement, un anuncio. Y su anuncio está aquí. La empleada dice, lo sentimos mucho. We're very sorry. Hay un pequeño retraso en la salida del vuelo 342 con destino a Tegucigalpa, Honduras. Dentro de 20 minutos tendremos más información sobre la salida del vuelo 342. There's a small delay in the departure of Flight 342 with destination to Tegucigalpa, Honduras. Within 20 minutes, we will have, this is a future tense of the verb tener, we will have more information about the departure of Flight 342. Aquí hay algunas cosas y personas en el avión. La ventanilla es una ventana pequeña. Aquí hay el pasillo, the aisle, or the hallway, maybe. El pasajero y la pasajera, they're cognates, passenger. Aquí hay el auxiliar de vuelo y aquí hay la auxiliar de vuelo, flight attendants. In the olden days, we would say stewardess or steward. Aquí hay otro anuncio. La empleada dice un anuncio. Ella dice, el vuelo 342 con destino a Tegucigalpa está listo. En unos minutos vamos a abordar. Favor de pasar a la puerta número 17 de la Terminal A. Flight 342 with destination to Tegucigalpa is ready. Maybe you've heard your Spanish teacher in the past use this word when you're playing a game. Listo. ¿Listos, chicos? Are you ready, guys? En unos minutos vamos a abordar. In a few minutes, we're going to board. Favor de pasar means please pass or please go to. Gate number 17 in Terminal A. Favor de, and then an infinitive verb, is a really common way of giving instructions politely in Spanish. Oftentimes you might see this, favor de no fumar. Fumar es este. Smoking. Favor de no fumar means no smoking. Or no smoking, please. Maybe it's more polite. Aquí hay otra. Esta es la aduana. La aduana significa customs. If you've never traveled internationally, maybe you are not familiar with this, but if you have, hopefully you have some memory of going through customs. Basically, when you go to a different country, you arrive on the plane and you get off the plane, and then you have to collect your luggage, and you stand in a line usually, and there's a room where there are aduaneros or aduaneras, customs agents, and they are federal employees of the government, and they will ask to see your passport to make sure that you are who you say you are. They might ask you a few questions like, how long are you going to be here? What are your plans for your trip? Are you traveling for business or for pleasure? And they're trained to look for suspicious behavior. Obviously, they don't want to let thieves and robbers and criminals into the country. They also, once in a while, will choose people at random or people that seem suspicious, and they'll inspect their luggage by hand. Just to make sure they're not carrying anything illegal, like drugs are the most frequent thing we think of, but oftentimes customs agents are looking for things that seem very mundane to us. Like in some countries, they don't allow you to bring in fresh fruits or vegetables or seeds, for example, because they don't want their ecosystem to be damaged with invasive species. Obviously, like bugs are a big problem too, or rodents, animals, like they don't want you to bring that stuff into their country sometimes. When I traveled to New Zealand, which is an island, they were really careful about inspecting your shoes and your boots. Your shoes and your boots had to be completely spotless because New Zealand is an island and their ecosystem is very closed. So they didn't want you to bring any weird bacteria or fungi on the bottom of your hiking boots that might damage their ecosystem or their native species. So this is like your short little summary of what customs is all about in case you've never been through customs. Okay, so la aduana means customs. El aduanero, la aduanera, customs agent. Registrar looks like register. It means to inspect or to check. Registrar. Aquí hay un diálogo. El aduanera dice, bienvenido a Managua. ¿Qué tiene? Welcome to Managua. What do you have? El pasajero dice, una maleta y una mochila. A suitcase and a backpack. Y el aduanero responde, pase a la izquierda. Tendremos que ver qué cosas tiene dentro de su equipaje. Ese señor va a registrar el equipaje. Aquí está tu pasaporte. Pass to the left or go to the left. We will have to see what things you have inside of your luggage. That man is going to inspect your luggage. Here is your passport. Bueno, hacemos algunas actividades de escuchar. Actividad 1. Dice, en el aeropuerto. Estás en un aeropuerto esperando tu vuelo. Oyes muchas conversaciones entre los pasajeros y muchos anuncios. Si escuchas buenas noticias, señala con el pulgar hacia arriba. Si escuchas malas noticias, señala con el pulgar hacia abajo. You're waiting for your flight. Oyes, you hear a lot of conversations between the passengers, pasajeros, y muchos anuncios, many announcements. Si escuchas buenas noticias, if you hear good news, pulgar arriba. If you hear bad news, malas noticias, pulgar abajo. ¿Listos? Número 1. ¡Ay, no tengo mi pasaporte! ¿Dónde está? Número 2. El vuelo número 17 con destino a Caracas, Venezuela, está listo. Pronto vamos a abordar. Número 3. Señorita, no tengo un asiento. Tiene que esperar el próximo vuelo. Número 4. Puedo hacer sus reservaciones a un precio muy barato. Número 5. El avión todavía no ha llegado. Hay un retraso de media hora. Lo siento. Número 6. Señor, usted no puede abordar el avión con esta maleta. Es demasiado grande. Número 7. La inspección de seguridad solo tomó 5 minutos. Fui muy rápido. Número 8. Muy buenas tardes. Soy el capitán Gallego. Tengo 32 años de experiencia como piloto. Bienvenidos al vuelo número 22 con destino a Lima, Perú. Hacemos otra actividad de escuchar. ¿Quién lo dice? Who says it? Escucha cada frase y en una hoja de papel escribe quién lo dijo. You don't have to write anything. You'll just do this on Edpuzzle. Listen to each sentence and say or enter who said it. Una pasajera, una agente de viajes, un auxiliar de vuelo o una aduanera. A passenger, a travel agent, a flight attendant, or a customs agent. So who would most likely say these things? Número 1. Bienvenidos a bordo. ¿Sabe usted dónde está su asiento? Número 2. Muy bien. Aquí en la computadora dice que hay un vuelo directo entre Chicago y la Ciudad de México. Número 3. Señor, ¿puede usted abrir la mochila? Tengo que registrarlo a mano. 4. Señorita, ¿a qué hora va a salir el avión? Número 5. ¿Quisiera usted un refresco, café o jugo? Número 6. ¿Por cuánto tiempo quiere usted quedarse en Guatemala? Número 7. Es importante llegar al aeropuerto 2 horas antes de la salida de un vuelo internacional. Número 8. Bienvenidos a Montevideo. Necesito ver su pasaporte. Bien. Hacemos actividad 5. Escucha y escribe. Hay cosas que vas a necesitar para tu viaje. Escucha estos consejos y escribe la cosa que necesitas. Listen and write. You'll do this on Edpuzzle. There are things that you're going to need for your trip. Listen to these advices, and write the thing that you need. For example, modelo. You hear, la necesitas hacer con la línea aérea antes de comenzar el viaje, which means you need to do it with the airline before commencing the trip. Your answer is la reservación. La reservación. You need to do it. You need to make it before you begin your trip. Número 1. Cuando viajas a un país extranjero, lo necesitas como identificación. 2. La haces antes de salir de casa. Pones tu ropa y otras cosas dentro de ella. Dentro. 3. La recibes en el aeropuerto y la necesitas para abordar el avión. 4. Es el boleto que necesitas para ir a un lugar y volver al aeropuerto de donde sales. 5. Es el vuelo que prefieres si no quieres hacer escala durante el viaje. 6. Lo facturas cuando llegas al aeropuerto. Bueno, vamos a hacer algunas actividades por escrita. Dice aquí, actividad 4, leer, escribir. Está en la página 406 de tu libro. Unos consejos means some advice. Cuando viajas por primera vez, vas a tener muchas preguntas. Lee los consejos, advice, y escribe la palabra apropiada para completar cada frase. When you travel for the first time, you're going to have a lot of questions. Read the advice and write the appropriate word to complete each phrase. Por favor, chicos, haz esta actividad on your own, solo. Once you're done with that one, take a stab at actividad 6 en la página 407. ¿Quién hace qué? Una persona que no ha viajado mucho tiene muchas preguntas sobre quienes hacen diferentes cosas durante el viaje y la preparación para el viaje. And then you don't have to do this part. It says work with another student, not necessarily. You're just going to do this in writing. It's a reading activity for you. A person that has not traveled much has a lot of questions about who does different things during the trip and the preparation for the trip. So read these phrases and say who would do those things. Modelo, pasar por el pasillo con bebidas. Pass through the aisle with beverages. La auxiliar de vuelo, the flight attendant, passes through the aisle with beverages. Número 1, sugerir los vuelos y hacer las reservaciones. Suggest the flights and make the reservations. Who would do that? Well, a flight attendant. Look up the word for flight attendant y escribe. Once you're done with these 2 writing activities, por favor, turn them into the sub with your name on them. Adios, chicos.